LonelyMans podcast. Big announcement, guys. Big announcement. This is our first episode on Rumble, baby.
Rumble.
And who better to have as our first guest?
So I can say whatever I want.
Lord Petty himself. Rodney, we couldn't figure out your last name last week.
I keep it low key because
Right.
I don't want people to know it,
That's
dude.
smart.
Yeah, I'm
Rodney
too.
Petty, everybody.
I spread too much dangerous misinformation to where, like, I posted something on my Instagram the other day about just kind of a homage to my hometown. I was like, I wonder what would pop up, and I typed in my full name and the town, and I just saw like my dad's address and shit, and I was like, oh nope.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
You
It's
don't
so
get
easy.
doxxed by these libs.
Yeah, dude, because I get like death threats and shit like that.
One
Do
time,
you?
Yeah,
What type of shit are you posting that you're gonna do? What's the last death threat you got about?
just dangerous misinformation.
you interact with people sometimes though, and rile them up through
Yeah.
the comments. I know it's like to boost your. It helps when people comment, but that's probably why you get some death threats too. Because not only do they say something, but then you're like, you make fun of them back, and then they feel bad.
Do people
So
DM you death threats
They lash out.
on Instagram?
Yeah, it's
where
not.
you receiving them from?
It's not so.
Getter or with Gutter, whatever that is.
It's always like somebody with like an anime profile picture.
Oh, dude, we posted a clip of this podcast where Ben was saying there's no black anime characters, and we got lit up. Everyone just started naming all these names I've never heard of
Hey,
in
if
the
you
comments.
subscribe to patreon.com/lonelymans and you send me a death threat and you're a subscriber to Patreon, I'll read it on the air. On
Yeah,
Patreon.
and we'll give you my address.
Yeah.
You just gotta be really careful with that stuff because like I got one profile nuked already because the whole way I built my shit up initially is I would talk shit to people.
Yeah.
Like I was making memes and stuff and doing content, whatnot for like 2 years and just nothing. I went from like 400 followers to like 5,000 within like 3 or 4 months.
On Twitter?
No, on Instagram because
So you were talking shit in the comments?
Yeah, like my whole so it was very calculated. I would basically say something.
Is this a 3-stage plan like Andrew Tate of how you're going to take over the internet?
Pretty much.
Stage 1, troll
Yeah.
the comments.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about Andrew Tate, like not to get too, but
He's the reason I'm on Rumble. I watched his emergency broadcast the other day, and he and his brother were like, "Get the fuck on
This
Rumble."
guy's big. Andrew Tate,
Dude, he's-
Jordan Peterson.
I don't think it's a bad idea to get on Rumble because like everything can just disappear all at once, or like maybe our YouTube channel goes down. So if we just start backing up episodes on Rumble, it's not a bad idea.
It's true.
yeah, I just made an account too. I was like straight up to see Top G. But,
Yeah.
he's not saying anything new. I haven't
No.
heard him say anything that I haven't heard.
He's funnier about it.
Exactly.
He's more entertaining with it.
Exactly. He was just, and it's kind of pointing me in a new direction because a lot of the shit that he's saying is the same shit that I've been saying, but there is a level of trolling to it, and I always kind of want to go against like what the narrative is now,
Right, yeah.
Because now you look at all these comment threads and everybody thinks they're like, oh, I'm this big alpha male, oh, fuck these lefties and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, well, now I can't just be one of these guys because it's mainstream now.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody in a
Yeah.
comment thread is like, apparently everyone's a black belt, and they also are a Mensa member.
Yeah.
And also they know how to do fine art. It's
They're
like,
spiritually
damn.
enlightened.
There's a lot of really talented people in every Instagram comment thread talking about, like, you go on Reddit and they're like, as a lawyer, I've been a lawyer for 8 years. And it's like, how do I know that? You're on Reddit. You post 300 times a day. Shouldn't you be lawyering?
Yeah, Reddit's a cesspool. I don't really like Reddit.
Instagram's
I'm not
getting
on
there too.
Like I'll end up there if I'm searching for something, and that's like the only place I can get the
I
information.
check in on the Fighter and the Kid subreddit when I'm pooping. It's a go-to poop. It relaxes me because I have so much anxiety about my life, and then I see how much like worse it could get in terms of like online anxiety.
Yeah, if you
And it
actually had any sort of like notoriety.
Yeah, and it relaxes my sphincter, and I get to poop.
Yeah, I don't like people, like I stopped arguing with people that don't have profile pictures. Like if
That's
I
not a
can't
bad
see your
rule.
face, I don't know, you're some fat troglodyte just sitting in your room like
Yeah.
beating your dick 16 hours
Well,
out
I
of the
mean,
day.
you don't need to be that mean to me, dude. Dude, I watched myself in the last
What's wrong with beating your dick for 16 hours?
the last
dude?
video podcast, dude. Oh my god, I was like, fuck, I gained so much weight.
In the clip Rodney posted, you're like moving around the couch.
I know.
It's
I'm
very
comfortable in my
unflattering.
skin, dude. But apparently that's everyone's gonna body shame me. I'm body shaming myself.
I think you're being hard on yourself,
Yeah,
dude.
we got
I hit the
6
elliptical.
followers from your post last night. That's huge.
Thank you, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
I hit
awesome.
the elliptical for 20 minutes yesterday morning, so I'm back on the grind.
Dude, good. No, I appreciate it because I listened to the I really like the podcast. Because it's weird. I met all you guys separately. Like I didn't even know you guys were all friends. Like,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I met you at Hans Kim's house party where he just like spammed his address on the internet.
Yeah, and then I remember we were talking outside at Kill Tony one time. Then you told me a story, which I'm sure you've told before, but about, I don't even know if you want to tell it publicly.
I've probably told it on the podcast. Go for it.
But basically, you're running a train on a groupie.
Oh, he
Yeah.
said
But
that
like-
on stage.
Like you're talking about how I was dying about that for like 2 days afterwards. Talking about like wearing masks, but she was like just blowing everybody.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have anyone on the tour bus because of the COVID restrictions. So we had to sneak a groupie on, and then we did the most like unhealthy thing: run a train on a group in a small back lounge of a tour bus. So it's not very well ventilated.
God, dude, that's so grimy. But yeah, and then I remember
You got on Kill Tony that day.
Yeah, I did, and it didn't.
The black girls stole your microphone like Bernie Sanders, dude. They didn't even let you talk up there.
Yeah, they weren't feeling me, but you know, I kind of expected that. I knew, those moments when you just know.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna get on that day. I just knew. Like he called my name. I don't know. I just felt the whole thing, and then to get that negative of a reception was such a like. I can't imagine. You see people going on there that live in their cars that really don't have a lot of shit going on, that just really kind of have hard lives.
Yeah.
And then they go on that show and then Tony just eats their soul. Like I got a good reaction from the crowd and I live like a pretty decent life outside of, off state, like away from all this comedy shit.
Right. Yeah.
And it's still like fucked me up for a good like 48 hours. I was like, when you're in the shower and you're just like cringing because the video
Yeah.
wasn't out yet.
That's
so
why I stopped drinking for a while, because I would have so many. The next day, it wasn't even the hangover. It was like the cringe of like something I would say to
Yeah.
somebody.
Well,
Yeah.
you walked through the fire, dude. You walked through the flames. You came out unscathed. I've seen a lot of other people that went on had
You talk shit about Lizzo, and look what happened to Ari Spears this week, dude.
Yeah, dude. You were original.
I didn't see that.
Ari Spears from Mad TV said Lizzo looks like the shit emoji.
That's pretty good.
That's
And
pretty funny.
That's a good joke.
He said she looks like a plate of mashed potatoes.
That's a good joke. right there.
So all her fans came after him because that clip went viral. And then
Ooh, I need to repost my Lizzo joke,
yeah,
dude.
dude, get in the algo
okay.
right now.
I'll have to hit up my PR firm.
And then she won a VMA, and she was like, oh, everybody's like, Lizzo, you gonna clap back? And she's like, nah, bitch, I don't need to clap back because I won, ho. She kept saying like bitch and ho on stage. It's pretty dope.
Who do you think will die first, Harry Spears or Lizzo?
Probably Ari Spears.
Probably right around the same
Apparently
time.
he gets like roughed up at comedy clubs all the time. I remember
because he talks so much shit.
someone we know opened for him in Connecticut, and I believe he almost got stabbed on stage by somebody.
That's sick, dude. Like, if you're gonna do comedy, if you're not absolutely like John Mulaney level, like crushing theaters,
Yeah.
then you gotta be the other way. We're just like, I'm legitimately getting fistfights every night because I say whatever the fuck I want.
yeah.
That's the only two ways to do it. Those are the only two sides of the yin and yang coin of either be successful or just piss people off and ruin their nights.
Dude, stand-up is a just completely different animal.
Than the meme world.
But just everything. I look at it like I put MMA fighters at the very top of just psychos.
All right, we're nowhere near MMA fighters.
Well,
yeah,
We're-
I look like a white Muslim MMA fighter right now.
Yeah.
It's-
When I say it endearingly,
Yeah.
just like it's so. Your natural inclination is to not get.
We
hurt,
are doing
you know?
high-level problem solving with dire consequences. That's what I call stand-up.
They're just the weirdest
that's
people.
what
I know
Rogan
what you're
calls
saying.
MMA.
You're not saying they're like as determined or disciplined as MMA fighters. You're saying they're broke. The spectrum of brokenness among all the people who do that activity. It's like you meet a new type of broken person you've never thought existed every time you go to an open mic.
It's such a like pit of negativity,
Yeah.
and then these like flowers sprout out of it of somebody that's like traumatized enough to where they've just kind of flipped the script on whatever the fuck things they've gone through.
Damn,
And then
that's
people are
beautiful,
and then
dude.
people are just naturally funny, But so when I kind of dove into it and started dabbling around with stand up, I just realized like, man, I can't be around this fucking negativity.
Yeah.
All
it
the
takes a
time.
toll on you,
Nice,
dude.
dude.
I was at Kill Tony actually, and we were in the pit, and this guy next to me was like kind of like bugging out. He had like his shirt unbuttoned, his like chest exposed. He had like a weird hat and glasses on.
Swag, dude.
Yeah, he was just kind of like grooving around and like talking to himself and shit. And because I'm around psychos all the time, I thought nothing of it. And after the show, people were like, yo, what was up with that dude next to you? I like had to tell security about him, and he was like really freaking me out. And I was like, bro, I had the horse blinders on and just like completely tuned it out.
Yeah, there's so many moments that happen where like Alyssa, I'll go to a show and something will happen or an open mic and Alyssa will be like, oh my God, like what the hell? Can you believe this? Or how cringe it is or how bad someone's doing? And I used to feel that way, but I slowly have just become numb to like, oh yeah, this is what happens
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
There's like, if she wasn't my girlfriend, I'd be like, I wouldn't be bringing you. If we were in our 3rd or 4th date, I wouldn't be bringing you to these places. I would let you come to 2 shows a year when I know there's going to be like 100 people in the audience.
I cracked the code though, dude. I cracked the code with my autism brain.
Yeah.
If I can kill an open mic basically at will now, because all I have to do is start making fun of how shitty I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally all you have to do. But
That
then,
was my method at first. It's like that's they tell you not to do that. Acknowledge how bad you're bombing. But I think there's a certain way to own it and just be like, because I don't like it, because I want them to know that I know I'm doing bad.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not like these other mentally ill people. I know I'm bad at this. Yeah.
Yeah, so Paul was saying, do you get up every day and try to write like 10 memes or like tweets?
Yeah, how do you
have a
because
schedule
you
to
post
it?
a pack like every few days or whatever. It's like, to do anything with that.
I was on like a Twitter grind for like 7 years, but I was just like joking with my friends and like tweeting the N-word and stuff like that.
It's kind of
I had to
interesting.
delete every tweet because they were none of it's good. I can't have any of it out there.
It's interesting when a new format of a meme emerges, you get to be like, cool, now I get to apply what I do on my Instagram through this meme format, as well as I've seen you do other things where you'll take like a screenshot of a Netflix show you're like watching. It's not even like something else. I've seen you take screenshots of shit that isn't already a format. So it's interesting how you can kind of approach it from both ways, where it's like, is there a popular meme that I can make?
I don't have that brain. Like I could never do those that face when memes.
Yeah.
My brain, I'm not like, it's like kind of abstract, I guess.
I mean, I made really garbage shit, like I said, for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else, you have to kind of learn the rules before you can bend them.
Mm-hmm.
And then
There's
so
rules to the memes.
there is, dude. I mean, it's like anything, It's like anything you look at in the world. I mean, it's like this fucking casting couch here, right? It's just a couch.
You're trying to get people to like it.
But somebody had to sit down and design it. Somebody had to stitch it. They had to source the material. So like everything, there's way more.
Somebody
to it
had to get
than
their
meets the
anal.
eye,
Yeah,
you know?
you gotta go on Know Your
Taken on
Meme
it.
and like see what the new hottest like trending memes are.
I never did that. I never.
That's what like the people that run Wendy's and those like
Oh,
types
yeah,
of Twitter
dude.
accounts.
You-
That's what they do.
You could. It sucks that your portfolio is full of like Joe Biden sniffing girls' hair, because you definitely, if you had more of a left leaning, you could apply to
You
like.
can run like One America's. Like,
Yeah, they'd be
meme
like,
account
yeah,
or
for
something.
sure, you can do this.
I
That's
have-
what I should do, man. I should make a second account that's all wholesome memes, like those, the ones that get posted all the time.
Yeah, positive memes.
Yeah, normie memes.
Yeah, normie memes.
Where do you stand on the normie meme game?
I could be a lot bigger, because I could either go way more right and just kind of like gargle Trump's balls
Yes.
and just appease that crowd.
Hell
but
yes.
Where
the
can
Russian
you do that
bots.
now, though?
The deplorables.
it still exists.
Yeah.
Like I block at least like 5 dudes a day, just because when you make fun of like these retarded liberals, all of a sudden now you get these like hoot and hollering boys that
You
think
get
you're one of
retarded
them.
conservatives.
Exactly. And
Yeah, retardism is on all sides.
And it's uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Like I posted something the other day, like an old picture of myself where I was just wearing this ridiculous outfit, and the caption was like, "Back when I thought I was future," because I was wearing like this big dumb hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw
And then-
this.
Well,
yeah.
and then I had these 2 just like redneck guys be like, "Oh, or were you just trying to be a," and he called me the N-word, and I was like, "Dude, I don't want to like be."
But not like you tweeted the N-word. See, his is laced in irony and his genius commentary on society. These
Yeah.
guys were just like, this is the word
They're
I
just
said
dropping it, dude.
to
Right.
be hurtful.
They're just trying to like,
Yeah.
when you're just people
No,
start
yeah.
getting
That
drunk and start getting
sucks.
comfortable. So yeah, it kind of so you got to kind of pull back and then trash. But yeah, if I was a little more of a normie, or if I leaned harder into it's kind of Tech Nine. He used to say like, I'm gonna make the industry go tech instead of go industry.
Right.
That's how I think of
Hell yeah, dude.
my shit.
Put that across the back. That's business tips number 1. You should write a TED talk.
That's his.
About
Paul
making
said
memes.
you're Rodney pilled last week.
Yeah, dude. Because he was like, is he red pill? Is he blue pill? And because I was explaining this concept you're explaining now, how you'll get pushback from different sides of an issue. And I said he's Rodney pilled. He took the Rodney pill, dude.
Yeah, and it has pros and it has cons, but at least it's like when people do like me, they like me, and like when people hate me, they hate me.
Yeah, it's the same with stand up too.
Yeah.
As if you're like really doing you up there, not everyone's gonna be on your side.
Yeah.
You can't be liked by everybody.
And you just got to be happy with what you're doing, where it's like, yeah, you just got to be like accepting that no matter which way I go, if I go super clean, if I go super dirty, there's always going to be people that don't fuck with it. So ultimately, I just want to do what I would like to see if I was in the front row and I saw someone, or if I opened my phone and I saw just some stuff that you think is.
I was
cool.
gonna ask where the meme game goes, but you wrote a book.
Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
like a real talk show right now.
We'll put it in the bio.
So, Rod, you wrote a book.
Check the info on YouTube. We'll link the book on Amazon.
I understand you wrote. Did you bring us a copy of the book?
I did. I brought you guys some copies.
Oh
yeah.
Fuck
man,
yeah,
let's
dude.
get it out, dude.
Want to do an unboxing?
Yeah.
I mean, we can, dude. It's kind of.
Yeah, you gotta
Wow,
have it. You gotta
dude.
show it on the pod.
You need to sign them for
We gotta
us.
get a thumbnail out of it, bro.
I brought Ben one too. I don't know if he's gonna be here or not.
My girlfriend just read the book, the Alcoholics Anonymous book. I noticed it
The
was on,
big book
it
of
was on
AA?
her, yeah, it was on her nightstand, and I think she's been trying to make me do the steps secretly.
Are these autographed copies?
Wow, dude.
Fuck yes, dude.
Oh.
So the book thing kind of started as a joke, because, like I said, in the very
I'm
beginning,
gonna read this while I poop, dude.
when I was
Well, hold up the book. We need a thumbnail.
when I was
Mine says,
There we
should I read my message?
Yeah.
It says, Paul, you are not fat. Love, Rodney. That's what I fuck with, dude.
A true listener of the podcast. Jesse, Jesus loves you, although you are a gang member. Love, Rodney. Oh, that's.
I
really
like
cute.
the paper that's covers printed on. It's like,
Yeah, where do you even get books printed now?
Dude, I have a friend, her name's Jordan West, and she wrote a book called All Men Are Assholes and All Women Are Crazy. Or maybe that's backwards. I think I got it fucked up. No, that's right.
nice. Okay.
And so I read her book, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And it was kind of what's that word?
Biographical?
Yeah, God, I can't say that word. And but she was also talking conceptually, and I just never read anything like that. And I just kind of reached out to her because I always thought, like back in the day, to release a record, you would do like a mixtape, and then you had to get a record deal to actually
Right.
release a record.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because that's like my mind. Like I treat my like book and comedy and memes and shit. I think about it like the rap game kind of. I treat
Yeah.
it the same way. Like
You're
that's just
dropping singles
You and Jesse
right now?
are about to connect us to white dudes that love
You already
rap.
quoted Tech 9, dude. I'm in.
well, no,
Rodney pilled.
but it's like the whole thing. It's the same way. I mean, I could split this in so many different, but not to kind of stay on track. But as far as the book, then I reached out to her. It's just kind of like, hey, how'd you get your book deal? Like, what goes into that? Did you have to blog a bunch or something? She says, no, like you can just self-release, self-publish. And I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like I said, I thought you had to, get this deal.
Mm.
And so so to grow my profile initially, I would say some controversial shit just to get somebody to bite, and then they would just type like a big paragraph with all this shit, and then I would just rip into their appearance.
Yeah.
And then I would repost it. And so that's how my profile kind of went from like 400 followers to 5,000 like instantly, because I was just talking so much shit. And so people would always say, do you have a source for that?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, no, I don't have a fucking source, because like anything on the internet is just some guy. Like
You can find a source for anything.
you can find a source for anything
Yeah.
you want. You can find a fucking source. So I was like,
Yeah.
so just to troll, I was like, I'm gonna write a book just so I can use myself as a source. And then so that kind of was at the same time as when I was talking to Jordan about her book, and I kind of got serious about it. And then yeah, so I don't know, I wrote a book. And
Dude, that's awesome.
Is this like your 12 rules for life?
it is. So that's where I stole the title from. That's funny, dude. Yeah, we dig around in some of the same holes. It
Yeah.
sounds like. Because yeah, that was kind of the the onomatopoeia or whatever of the petty principles. But then yeah, it was just kind of a spin. It's just kind of a spin on like a self-help book with
Yeah.
dick jokes in it.
Jesse's got a
Yeah.
whole bookshelf of these. It's gonna go right alongside him. You're joining a pantheon
I'm
of
putting this right next to As a Man Thinketh.
Yeah.
And
of well-respected authors that Jesse reads.
my Kindle with 12 rules for life. I don't even know what rule I'm on. I don't think I made a hat. That book is so dense.
It's very dense. Yeah.
I cannot.
I've reread the lobster thing like 40 times.
It took me 2 years to get through the lobsters.
Yeah. It is cool though, lobster.
Now I'm on to like starting a family or whatever one of them is.
Dude, if there's one book that has changed my life that I can recommend, it's by Robert Greene. It's called The Laws of Human Nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
It changed.
We know a Robert Greene.
Yeah, he wrote 48 Laws of Power.
No, we know
Oh, okay.
It's that guy.
we know
I
a
thought
Rob
you were gonna say
Greene.
48 Laws of Power.
Rob Greene comedian who lost a ton of weight.
Oh yeah, we do know Rob Greene.
Shout out to Rob Greene. Sorry.
So no, that book's the shit though. I literally read that book and it just changed my whole worldview.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. The shit about like Andrew Tate and all these controversial people, they're spitting bars. They're saying true shit, but they're saying it so trolling and entertaining. They're not saying anything new.
Right.
They're not saying anything different than like Marcus Aurelius was talking about.
Yeah.
but he's doing it. It's so
And he's putting out all free content. He's appearing on everyone's podcast. He's putting all the free videos out. And then he's like, oh, so if you want to learn more, join my website.
yeah, it's definitely a pyramid scheme, but
I joined it for a month and everyone hates me for it.
I mean, it's like I give a few Patreons money and all they do is like bullshit on a podcast. So it's like I don't really judge people for being into it, but it does seem once you've been around and seen enough people kind of blow up, like you said, they're just saying sort of like, yeah, if I could follow this advice, it's good advice. But the problem is personally, I'm terrible at following advice.
Tate gets me hyped up sometimes. I'll watch his like depression isn't real video.
Yeah.
And like even though it is, I just like psych myself up like, yeah, depression's not real, dude.
I just
Start
can't
punching
believe
yourself.
how fast someone can like spread on the internet. Then it's just like, you just start hearing like different people ask you about him, and you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, because I found him from your mom's house in January.
that shit was funny.
Yeah, I've watched it like 3 times. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, being a total troll on there. He's with 2 comedians. So they're asking him, they're like setting him up to like
Yeah,
say
he's like a
jokes.
wrestling character. He's like a heel.
Yeah.
Sort of. I get it. And,
Yeah, he's just
and
doing
it's
shoe
like,
promos.
like certain heels in wrestling, it's partly is a lot of his own personality or whatever too.
I think that's what, not to like, oh, I think you guys should, but I think that's what you guys should do because you were talking on one of your episodes about like the direction you want to take this podcast. If you guys
Yeah.
get some characters on here,
Yeah.
like because you guys are such like funny comedians, because you guys understand like you guys can pull the comedy out of characters that aren't even trying to be funny,
Yeah.
and that's usually kind of where the magic is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never used Patreon. I gotta buy your guys' Patreon because I want to hear your fucking rap song, dude. Your
Dude, before you came over, we recorded one. We were just spitting bars for like
So
almost the
in the
whole
last
hour.
2 or 3 Patreon episodes, we try to do freestyles, and now we decided we're gonna do a new segment on the Patreon called Spit and Written, where during the week we're gonna
This
have
actually
we're
requires
gonna
work
have a
that we
beat.
probably won't do.
we're gonna have a beat, and then we're gonna write. How many bars do you want to write a week? 16.
You don't get the beat. You gotta be able to do it. I'm losing my voice on this podcast.
Shouldn't we choose our
You
own
gotta,
beats?
you gotta be able to spit your bars over any beat that's thrown in front of you. You gotta do 5 fingers of death.
I was
like
gonna say it's
Sway.
like 5 fingers of death.
Yeah.
So you don't. Okay, all right. Well, this is logistics that we can talk about out the podcast. Not very interesting.
Yeah, most of the podcast is us talking.
That's
about
a
the podcast.
tease right there. We're rapping on because we're totally out of ideas. At least personally, I
Yeah.
tried to care and like I got self-conscious about making a podcast and shit like that, and then you realize that it doesn't. It's like doesn't matter at all.
It's more entertaining than you think it is. Like everybody, it's hard to separate yourself from your own product,
Right.
You know, and because then you do something enough and you have no idea. Okay, is this garbage? Then once you kind of just stop giving a fuck, that's really where the magic is.
Yeah.
Dude, our that guy Dylon that we shouted out
Yeah.
that subscribed to our Patreon. We have no idea who he is. He sent me a message and was like, "Hey, am I supposed to introduce myself?" He's like, "I just randomly found you on Instagram and like listen to you
Yeah.
guys at work." So we're like, "That is so sick." And then a week later, he sent me another message and said, "Hey, do you want a custom gravity bong?" And I was
That's
like,
sick.
So I gotta give this stranger my address.
And I've
now.
always said that the whole like support your, you got to support your friends, support local art. It's like I appreciate my friends that have supported me, but I don't really want your support because you're not supporting me because you're like this is good. You're just like I like you. I hope you're successful with this.
I'm
I'd
totally
rather have
fine with that.
I want real Dylons in the middle of fucking nowhere, just being like I like this guy and I don't expect anything from him more than
Yeah, but our friends
He
laid a
provides.
base of people.
that's true.
So when someone goes on our Patreon, they're like, "Oh, people are actually paying for this. Maybe
I
it's
know,
worth it."
and trust me, I love that. But I want to get to a point where I have a bunch of random ass people that are like, because then it just feels like I don't know. You know what I mean? There's
What's
always,
what do you do on your podcast? It's just you alone.
Yeah, it's
It's not easy.
I just do it by myself. I do 20-minute episodes. I keep them pretty short because I
That's
figured
nice.
that's like I literally sat down and I'm very calculated, dude. I'm kind of a psychopath. I literally like sat down and what's the average commute?
Yeah.
And so I wanted a podcast that's kind of lighthearted. It's like I heard Ninth Wonder say one time, he's talking about Little B, the bass god, and he said sometimes you got to put the pills in the applesauce, basically like hide your message in trolling.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, that's kind of what the book is. It's kind of what my podcast is. It's kind of like what the memes are. It's what I try when I attempt to do stand-up. So it just doesn't...
dude, just like don't be hard on yourself with stand up, dude. It's so like I fucking Jesse can tell you. I mean, I'm not that good now, but I was so bad when we started. Like, unbelievably bad. So much worse than you and Ben and Dave. We started with 4 guys.
Yeah.
One of them, rest in peace, Dave Williams.
Ben and I would kill every time. Dave would
Drowning
kill every
in-
time, and Paul would bomb. And then we'd have to tell him he was funny for an hour.
Well,
on
not
the
even
ride
just
home.
killing, just like you guys had a natural sense of what to do up there, and I was just like flailing for so long.
So did you guys like grow up together, or how?
No,
old-
we started stand up together the same year.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I met Jesse outside an open mic, and I pretended to like Howard Stern so he'd be friends with me.
That's
I was
fun.
like, "You listen to Joe Rogan?" He's like, "Yeah." "You listen to Howard Stern?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I went home and I watched some Howard Stern just so I could
He gets some references.
be like, "I love Sal." You like Sal? And the Whack Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna ask you? Oh, what's hot in the meme world right now? What's trending this week?
What's your
going on?
biggest meme ever? Let's talk about that. Let's put it up here. Let's
Okay.
discuss your best work of art meme ever. Jesse will put it up here. We'll
So there's one that keeps getting stolen where it was basically at this mansion, and the caption said, college sophomores, quote, tax the rich. And then it shows like the house that they grew up in.
Mm.
And then there was another one with Joe Biden's face where the caption was, I don't need to write this down at the grocery store. But then it's like me at the grocery store, and it shows Joe Biden's like forgetful
I
face.
like that. That's relatable humor. Like the politics is the setup. The punchline is the relatable. Everyone forgets what the
Yeah.
fuck they went to the grocery store.
Yep.
See, I like that. That's if you're having trouble with stand up.
That's a
That might
hybrid
be-
normie meme right there.
Yeah, if you're having trouble with stand up, that might be a method to be like, let me front end the political reference and then back end the. Because dude, that's the thing. People get real weird. I'll say Puerto Rican in a bit. And everyone gets really tight. I'm like, I'm just saying the person is Puerto Rican. I didn't
Yeah.
even say anything about Puerto Ricans yet,
Mm.
which I'm going to right now.
So all your setups are gonna be like Joe Biden did this. That reminds me of the one time that
You know what I mean, dude. It's
I
like,
can relate to that because
I'm
do
saying this out loud for myself too, because sometimes I like the snarky political take to be the punchline.
Mhm.
But if you just do the setup with a snarky political take a little more, maybe that's the way to go about it. I got a great joke about electric vehicles and transgender women. I'll tell you after we get off the podcast. I think you really appreciate
That'll
it.
be in the Rumble version of the podcast.
Yeah. Check out the Patreon for that one.
I remember so when I was going on my stand-up streak where I was trying to get out every night, at least do 1 or 2 sets.
Yeah.
I did a mic at either Shakespeare's or like the Creek or something like that. And it was going well. I just had this like super good, what I thought I had this super good set.
Yeah.
And then, I think it was at Shakespeare's. Then I went to the Creek and I ran into Dallas Irvin.
Mhm.
Shout out to Dallas. He's a real one, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Make some good food.
and he's like, oh, and I told him, I was like, yeah, I had a pretty good set. Like, he's always been very like encouraging. Like, he gets it, you know?
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, well, I can probably get you on at Lucky Duck. Shab's hosting and he owes me a favor. I can get you on the list. It's like, all right, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so we walk over there, and right then you get up.
Yeah.
And it was there was quite a big crowd there, and you just started fucking killing. And I'd only talked to you once before, and you were just killing. And then I just kind of like look at Dallas, and like we look at you, and you're just like, everything you were saying was just connecting. I was just like, dude, I can't do this. So
I scared you off the open
yeah,
mic?
yeah, you scared me off the mic.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm putting fear into the hearts of these open micers
Hell
out
yeah,
here.
dude.
Yeah.
He's in funniest person in Austin tonight.
Yeah, I'm on a contest tonight. Can you come so I can be inspired?
Yeah,
to-
dude, I'll come. Yeah, where's that at? I keep hearing about that.
It's in
Cap City
the domain. You been up there? It's a big like strip mall neighborhood.
Nah, I haven't been doing much lately.
I don't know if you probably hate the domain. I'm trying to think of what Rodney's reaction to the domain was, but I feel like you'd hate the people up there.
It's just
It's-
a giant strip mall with apartments above the
you
stores.
live in a
It's
fancy,
just California.
and it's like a
Yeah.
really fancy. I guess that is a big California.
It's
thing.
like
Where
the
are you from
shitty
originally?
downtown like of every like major city now.
Where are you from originally? We probably should have done this at the top of the podcast.
I'm German, so I grew up in Germany,
Oh yeah. I
and
remember.
then I was born like outside of Seattle, but then I moved to Germany when I was a kid. And then I came back and I grew up like an hour north of Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Okay.
yeah, so I'm a Seattle guy at heart. I mean, I really miss Seattle, but it's just a fucking dump, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like just
Do you stand up out there?
You know, that's where I met. It's funny. That's how like everything comes full circle. But that's where I met Hans Kim in like 2017.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I just knew that guy was a star. It was weird. I'm very intuitive, by the way, and that's the same thing. How I said I met all you guys separately, and I kind of gravitated towards you because I was like, okay, these guys know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny that you guys were all homies because I had no idea. Like same thing with Ben. I met Ben at Moody's. he was there with Hans, and I hadn't seen Hans since like 2017.
Yeah.
It's like when I first got out, I was like, oh, Hans. First he didn't recognize me, and I actually wasn't doing any stand up. Like in Seattle, there's a lot more of an audience. It's not like out here everybody is a comedian. Up there, it's like, okay, what do you want to do tonight? Oh, let's go watch some open micers. Like it's just a thing. And I remember I saw Hans. I just went up to him afterwards, like, dude, you're really good. Like you just already knew, I mean, he was already like 6 years deep at that point too. But so I ran into them at Moody's, and they were just hounding on every piece of pussy in the building.
Yeah.
Hans and Ben?
Yeah.
Chasing girls?
You don't say.
No, I don't.
That could be a fucking TV show in itself. Ben and Hans just going after ladies.
Combine Rush Hour with Eliminate or something.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because it was some girl's, I forget what I was originally talking about, but it was some girl's birthday. And then Moody's is just always full of those college bitches anyways.
But I love doing that open mic because you just yell really offensive things, and then everyone just stares at you like you're fucking a crazy person.
Non-binary Gen Zs just grill you down the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I get really angry, and I say, you guys are children. ID every person. I actually demanded, they ID every person in the restaurant one time. And the bartender was looking at me like, I'm not going to
What
do
are you
that.
doing,
He's
man?
like, yeah, I was like looking right at him. It was a good time. But they like me sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't get a single joke. I remember that night. It
Did
was
you get
just
any pussy? Did you hang out with Ben and Hans?
no. I was hanging out. I wanted to, but I drove, and I didn't want to start getting all fucked up.
You don't trust these hoes, correct? I don't know. Oh yeah, we talk about semen retention on the podcast a lot. Where do you stand on semen retention, Rodney?
I'm too addicted to porn, dude. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Dude, you guys are like two peas in a porn addicted
Yeah.
pot.
You got a porn addiction?
Yeah.
How do
He's
you?
got everything.
I've been to 12-step programs for
Whoa.
it. That's the only way to really do the work with porn addiction. It's just too accessible, and there's too many triggers.
But how do you
on
know?
the internet.
But see, like I don't, because I was kind of joking. But I mean, like, how do you know if it's an addiction or not?
It affected my relationships like severely. So there were like consequences. If I was like too zonked, but if my brain was like too zapped out by porn, then like I couldn't get hard with my girlfriends, or I like looked at them a different way, or I was always looking at different women, even though I had like a beautiful, like loving, caring girlfriend at home. My eyes are always going somewhere else because you're like kind of ADD with all the porn, just like all the different tabs and thumbnails and stuff. It's like hard to really focus in.
You're a sinner,
one
dude. You
thing.
couldn't resist
Damn.
temptation.
Maybe I need a 12-step program, dude.
Shout out. They're not supposed to shout about a 12-step program. I guess, but
Shout out to all these people first
Maybe.
last night.
they're out there. You Google it. You can find one in your area. I gotta get back on that grind.
I always thought about going to. This is really fucked up, but I always thought about going to like a sex rehab place just to meet bitches. You know? It's like, hey, they put
They
out.
probably separate.
Honestly, you should just go to a regular drug rehab to meet bitches because those girls put out.
Yeah,
very-
it's
They're
called when you smash people from 12-step programs. It's called the 13th
the
step.
13.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
You know
That's
how
a good
many
name for a
comics?
special or something.
How many great comics are like in AA? Like how many of them started by just like going to AA and speaking in front of? It's like an old 80s and 90s trope. It's like I
Like
think-
they started that way, or did they just
well,
found
like
a good
the first time
audience
they
that
ever
way?
stood in front of people, they just were like, "Oh, I'm funny." I can
Yeah,
just,
and
like-
they would like tell their like fucked up stories and get laughs, and people were like, "You should be a comedian."
Ah, dude,
Yeah.
I have this thing right now that I'm kind of working out. Just like how teachers and instructors are always failed comedians and actors, because
Teachers love getting a laugh. There's some that don't though.
I mean, teachers are very important. It's a very respectable profession. I'm not trying to like shit on teachers.
I don't agree. I fucking hope they all get shot.
Yeah, they're all
By
grooming
their
our children.
students.
Yeah, they're all grooming them to be trans.
People talk about school shootings, try to blame this and that. When are we gonna blame the fucking teachers? The people who are supposed to be teaching these kids not to shoot each other. That's the only thing. Look, I'm
I said
sending
that to
Bobby.
a boomer one time. I was like, yeah, millennials, we're the most entitled generation. And I was like, and it's your guys' fault. And he's like, no, it's not. And I was like, whose is it then? He's like, the education system just immediately pushes it onto the teachers.
I'm just saying, you got to teach my son two things: how to read and how not to shoot his classmates. That's all you got to do. Send him
Yeah.
home. I'll teach him about sex,
Just do kettlebell workouts with him every
two
day.
genders. That's what I'm going to teach him.
Yeah.
I'll teach him about
Jiu-jitsu.
You know what's funny? The jiu-jitsu, sex ed, those would be in one class. It's gonna be defensive sex ed, defense against the dark sex arts. The fucking banning books thing is really funny happening now. So someone banned a book somewhere in a school, and then
Hopefully your book gets banned, dude. That'd be great.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
hey,
be great
call
publicity.
your local senator and ban this book from libraries. Light a copy on fire and throw it through a senator's window.
Speaking of getting banned and stuff like that,
Shout out to Rumble.
I gotta get smarter on these platforms.
Yeah.
So how does the Juggalo thing work, dude? Like, are you actually a Juggalo?
This
or,
is where you guys
like,
divulge.
Or no, like I'm just curious, because all I know about
Yeah.
is The Gathering, where people just go and like drop acid and fuck
He's a
bitches
gang
in
member,
tents
I've
and
been to
stuff.
the
Careful.
Gathering twice. I've performed stand-up at the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Damn, how'd that go?
Better than you would think.
Let's put it
It's
on the
my
Patreon.
It's on my YouTube.
We're putting it on the Patreon. Take it off the YouTube.
All right, I'll make it unlisted. And
This,
put it on the
this
Patreon.
podcast is a big cock tease for Jesse's personal life.
We say we're gonna wait till we actually talk about things on the Patreon, because we'll be like, oh, we're gonna say this with the Patreon, and then totally forget to talk about it on there.
And then you get on the Patreon, you're like, all right, for the next part, get on my Snapchat Premium. Just keep going further down these paywalls.
dude.
I just decided when I turned 30.
I hid
that-
my feet from last week's episode. I'm like, I'm putting free feet out on the internet. I can't be doing that.
I decided when I turned 30 that if I'm hell or high water gonna whore myself out for the rest of my life, I don't give a shit. They come to me and they're like, "Will you play a transgender bug in A Bug's Life too?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I would love to do that voice. I'll delete everything off the Patreon." Like I told Jesse, if I became like a Kill Tony regular, I'd walk off stage, I'd walk to him and be like, "We got to delete everything. Got to delete every podcast we've ever done.
Yeah.
Start fresh."
If you even get a good feature spot, we're just gonna dump
Yeah.
everything.
What do you guys think? I mean, like the Austin comedy, do you guys still see it as a ripe place, or do you kind of...
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, no, anywhere is what you make it. Like if you're in Anchorage, Alaska now, if you really want to do it, even stand up, like you can get on a stage and film it and then put it on. So I just think Austin is definitely good enough to do whatever you want to do, especially for people that don't have a fucking degree, like people who are doing stand up because it's the only accessible like way into show business.
Yeah.
Austin's perfect because it's like,
Did you move here to start stand up?
No, I moved here it was kind of a family situation because my mom came here from Germany and then my aunt lives
is your
like
dad
in-
Elon Musk, dude? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
No.
Are you one of his his people he's propagating?
I wish, dude. No, I got out of like a 3-year relationship and then I got laid off from my job up in Washington and then my mom was moving out here and I was just ready for something new.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Rebirth.
Are you living with your mom out here?
No, I
That'd be a
live...
fun twist.
I-
You're
well-
like making fun of all these libtards in their mom's basement.
No, like I like pay all my mom's bills and shit.
Yo,
like,
it's smart
damn.
though if you
Yeah.
can. I'd suck on any teeth that will let me, dude. Ask my girlfriend right now. I owe her like $300 for rent for the last month. It's supposed to be September 1st tomorrow.
But dude, so I noticed when I got out here, that's really funny, by the way. And that like, took me a second.
What?
It's absolutely true.
You haven't listened. According to Andrew Tate, she's gonna leave you, dude. But
Look, if she leaves me, she's not. I'm like
I
Bitcoin.
explained-
I'm like
My-
Dogecoin right now,
you-
dude. I'm 4 cents a coin.
Yeah.
If she stays with me, dude,
I
she'll get
explained
cash
the
in.
idea of high value men to Paul, and he was like, "Oh no."
No, I wasn't. I don't.
You got a
fall.
high value female.
You can only lose that game if you play that game. And Jesse knows me. I've never played that game. I have a ability to get women with literally no effort or even really wanting to do
his
it.
dick is huge.
It's not that.
It's
I have
not.
a small penis. I'm bad at sex. I tell them this. That's my opening line. I'm like, Jesse will literally.
You just set the bar so low that they
a
want to
girl
see
will
if
talk
it's
to
true
me
or
and
not.
she'll like show that she's interested. I'll be like, this isn't. I'm like really bad at sex. You're gonna regret doing it. We're not gonna talk. My penis is really small. And then over the course of the night, she just keeps trying. And I'm like, okay. And then we do it. And
and
then
then she pees in your bed.
that's why I stayed with my girlfriend, because she's the only one that didn't immediately stop texting me after the first time we had sex.
That's interesting.
No, not true, but kind of true.
You guys like had like real dates before you had sex too, right?
Yeah, we were good. I mean, we're both.
That's a good way to develop a
She
relationship.
was 30 and I was close to 30, so it was like the real dating when you're in your late 20s feels a lot cooler, because it's like, oh, my heart's been broken so many times that I'm not like, you know, when you go to adopt a puppy, some puppies stand in the corner and are scared. Some puppies just run up to you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I can just run up to a girl and be like, "What's up, ma?" Because I'm just like, I've already been broken so many times and pieced myself back together. I'll do it one more time. I'm not
Yeah.
that scared. Yeah.
Are you on the dating scene out here in Austin, Texas?
No, I mean, how do I say this without sounding like a huge douchebag?
Dude, I go through Hinge
They're
and I'm
all
like,
fat
I don't
liberal
care how
whores?
hot you are. This profile is so boring.
They're all fat, liberal, boring whores.
No,
Is that
there's a
what
lot
I'm
of hot, boring whores out here too.
Yeah, I mean,
saying? Rodney's a little bit of a body. He likes people to keep it tight in the body space, and that's something we're losing as a species. Is somebody to hold you accountable for looking like a fat whore? You know what I mean?
yeah, like I'm very particular. So
That's
like
why
I
this
said,
means a lot when you said I wasn't fat. Because I know you would tell me if I was.
So I got out of this relationship and it really exhausted me. And it's been like almost a year now. And I was seeing a girl recently. Like I wasn't even really seeing her. I met her at a pool party. It was like Rebecca's birthday, like Creek and Cave Rebecca, her birthday.
The fuck? I didn't get invited to that shit.
And
There was probably an open invite on the internet that we didn't see.
yeah, probably. No, Dallas brought me. But so
Hell yeah.
I met this girl
nice.
there, and so she actually gave me COVID. I got sick as a dog, but so we were kind of hanging out for a while, and that was cool. But I just don't have that like being in a relationship or anything like that. I legitimately have zero interest in it. Even if the
Get
girl
off the porn, dude. That'll change it.
Well, that's why
You'll
it's
rewire your
funny.
brain.
I
Yeah,
think that's
call
good
back.
because then if you happen to find yourself in a relationship soon, it'll mean that you weren't biased at all.
That's how I end up in every relationship. It's just like
You want to be
we
not
like hanging
wanting
out
to
with
have
each other
yeah.
so much. It's like let's do this. Let's just make it a thing.
That's,
Yeah.
that's what it was with Alyssa. I was like not looking for a relationship, but I was like, I don't want to. This is like what I want. So like, and then after like 6 months of just hanging, you're like, oh fuck, I guess we're.
Yeah, I was talking to a girl recently,
Yeah.
and she's like, "I want a relationship.
That's
I
not
want
healthy.
to be in love."
That's
and I
not
was
healthy.
like, "Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. It's never worked for me like that."
So I like when I hear someone say they're not interested in a relationship because I feel like that's a healthy mind space to be in.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing more sickening to a woman than a guy that's trying to like pursue a relationship, you know.
Yeah.
And then I
You
just
could also look at it. You're like, I'm not gonna settle, or like I'm not interested in just like hooking up and like fucking around. Like if you're really interested in me, like I want it to lead to something eventually, I guess. And if it doesn't, it's fine. But like at least try to set out with the intentions that we both want to like build something together.
And just that mismatched attraction, like whenever one person is more in than the other, that's just the worst. Like, that's the worst fate to start a relationship on because it really that dynamic never changes. If it starts out where it seems like one person is way more like having to pursue and stuff, I feel like that never gets better. It might get better for a time, but eventually that will rear its head again. You know, I've been on both sides of it, so.
yeah, and it's the bad side, the obvious bad side is not a good one. I mean, that's why I would love to hate my ex-girlfriend, but I don't because I think about, okay, she stuck with me for like 6 months of me getting laid off, sitting around the house, like not doing shit. And that would be equivalent to if you're dating a girl and all of a sudden she's just sitting around getting fat, you know? Like being a broke guy is like being a fat girl. And so
it's not a bad analogy.
You know, I wish she would have just broken up with me versus kind of, you know, beating around the bush or whatever. But
ripping the Band-Aid off.
And I think I'm just more on this like revenge mission to just get as rich and famous as possible versus like
high value male.
Falling into some relationship because I turn into a worse person when I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's just so distracting, you know? It's like we were talking about making the memes and shit earlier. I don't try. It just like that's my brain is just constantly there. Like
right. When I was tweeting a lot, I was like tweets would come to me. I would hear a line or I would think of something clever. Yeah. Or like or like you like learn the formats of the jokes too. Yeah, I get what you're saying about like learning the rules and then breaking them. Because like a new meme format will come out and you're like, all right, how can I do my like spin on this or whatever? And, like play around within those like guidelines of the meme.
Yeah, and having a girlfriend and stuff is just I don't know. And then a lot of times
you're just doing all these like anti-girlfriend jokes and stuff. I remember I was in a relationship and I would have all these like relationship jokes. Like my girlfriend would read my Twitter like, what the fuck is going on with you?
I have like a minute and a half on calling my girlfriend an old bitch.
Yeah.
And then I come back to it later and I'd be like, now I bring up Jennifer Aniston later in my set. I'd be like, and I just seems completely random. I go, she like hasn't aged a day. Unlike my old bitch of a girlfriend and like just keep bringing it back. And it's really fun for me to do that because I get off stage and I immediately walk over to my girlfriend. She's like my favorite person ever. And so it's like, I don't feel any guilt about just having this like character on stage. It's just really mean to his girlfriend. And
that's a keeper. If she gets it, she has a sense of humor about it too. Like my ex's
She's
friends
great.
all hated me.
Yeah.
Like they were all these just like valley girls, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't understand it. Like they didn't get it. They didn't understand that I wasn't actually like some raging racist misogynist, you know what I mean? And so they would get in her ear like, oh girl, you can do better. And so I don't know, it's just distracting, man. Like I want to be at a point I swear I'm not trying to sound like Andrew fucking Tate, but I want to be at a point where like my wife doesn't have to work. Like if she wants to, she can.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's a fun goal.
and so until I'm at that point, like I just really don't like the fuck am I gonna do like being some broke dude in a relationship? I don't know.
I was talking to
I don't know. It's
another
pretty
comic
nice,
about
dude.
this the other night, and like I've been thinking that I was like, I really got to get my life on track before I involve somebody else in it. And he like before I even said that, he's like, dude, he's like, I'm broke, I'm out of shape, I got nothing going on, and I'm gonna tell some girl, hey, eat my cum.
Yeah, it's not. And luckily, this is what I said earlier. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a huge douche. I mean, I'm 6'2", rude white guy. So like, if I really want to go get some pussy, I just go out and talk some shit, and it's either two compliments or 2 insults away from getting some pussy out in Austin.
Right.
And I know how that sounds, but I don't really care. So yeah, the relationships are just distracting, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I know how terrible that sounds, but sometimes you just got to lean into the white devil.
Sometimes I'm better in relationships, sometimes I'm worse. I guess it's if I'm happy with it or not. Or, I don't know. Well, one of my relationships, the girl had a lot going on, so I love that. So it inspired me to have a lot going on. She's trying to get her PhD in neurobiology. And like, I have to be good at comedy to justify this.
Yeah, I know. With me and Alyssa, we're just so similar, and we just like we hang out. I mean, we go on trips and spend like days and days and days with each other, and really she doesn't get tired of me, which is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I can't even describe like why it works. It's just like I don't know. We always talk about how it's like, cause we get self-conscious. Like, are you gonna like break up with me at some point? Like we're all like mentally ill like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we each just assure each other like, oh yeah, no, this is
so
like.
You both have a healthy paranoia of each other breaking up with you.
It's just a weird like yin yang thing. Like we spend so much time. I've never been in a relationship like that. Like whenever I've had a girlfriend before, it's like, oh, this is my girlfriend. And I do girlfriend things with her. And with Alyssa,
and I set a girlfriend time. That's what I used to do. I was like, this is girlfriend time.
With Alyssa, it's, she's like, I know this is the hackiest line ever, but it's really just like best friend. Like,
oh,
yeah. I just love going. If I was going to go to a movie.
Put a picture of you two up.
If I was going to go to a movie, I would rather go with her no matter what. I'd rather see a movie she wants to see with her than go see any movie I want to see.
And I feel like that's normal. I feel like that's the way to be.
It's like a natural thing. It feels so good. And like, yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I think I'm self-actualized enough where if she broke my heart, I'd definitely be upset. But I have confidence in knowing like, oh, I don't feel like sometimes with relationships, you're like, am I giving too much of myself away to this person that's just going to like throw it away for no reason? And I feel like, even if that happened, I'd be like, okay, well, now
things are going too good, dude. You're gonna walk in and find her with a black guy or something here.
I know, but if that happens, then I'm like, cool.
Ben Basanga.
I'm just gonna go be, dude.
That's gonna be a good Patreon episode.
Ben Basanga.
Everyone's like, what happened to Paul? We're like, oh, that's his story to tell, dude.
I mean, honestly, the thing about being a comic is awesome is that even if that shit happens to you, it's just that's all it is the turn for when you get way funnier and write a bunch of material. Like any terrible thing that happens to you, then you just have this level of like going out and just not even giving a fuck if you're doing good and you're just saying whatever the craziest shit you can think of is. And then you like discover a new level of your like on stage self because you're like, things are spiraling so out of control. I don't even give a fuck. I mean, Jesse's seen me at the Creek lately. I went up to a crowd of people and I said, I hate the Jews. And I pointed
Rumble.com/LonelyMans podcast.
I pointed at one. I said, I hate the Jews. And I turned and I said it again to the people. I said it twice in a row because I just did a Jewish joke that bombed. And the old me would have been like, I'm sorry. I'm just fucking around. The new me was just like, I hate the Jews. That was my tag. Just to make a statement.
I love. Have you guys been out to San Antonio? You guys done stand up out there?
Yeah.
You just did
I just did a show at the fucking Blind Tiger, which was so sick.
You go out to San Antonio?
Yeah, I'm moving out there next month.
Hell yeah, dude! I'll show you. We can go to the open mic at Blind Tiger together, and I'll introduce you because that open mic is the best. There's a fucking. Actually, I don't even know it's an open mic. So on midnight on Fridays, there's like 20 people that do 4 minutes, and you get in front of like a packed room is this big, but it's like 25 audience members, so it's like a little tiny packed comedy club.
Cool.
And it's such a good place to do 4 minutes. You just have a couple of new things you want to do. You go up on stage, you fuck around.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I mean, that's what I liked about Seattle too, because so I lived in LA at one point, and like everybody was an actor, everybody was a musician, like everybody had something. There wasn't just somebody like, okay, I go work at the factory and need some entertainment after work.
Yeah, it's really West Coast.
And so it's kind of the same thing out here in Austin. Like everybody you talk to is, oh, I'm a photographer, I'm a digital this, I'm a comedian.
I'm addicted to heroin.
Like everybody, there's not just like people that want to go and be entertained.
Yeah.
So I imagine like San Antonio is kind of a smaller market, but it's
there's
easier.
a lot of boring rich people out here that need shit to do, and they come out to comedy shows.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, maybe
it's so
But
many
it's
levels
usually
of, like,
they're like pre-game before they go do something actually cool.
Do they have like blue hair and septum piercings and shit?
No, they're all like tech bros and
Oh,
fucking
the worst, dude.
bro-hos. Yeah.
Yeah, Austin. I don't know. I like Austin, but I just kind of came to a brutal realization at one point that it just probably wasn't going to be the area for me to make any sort of dent. Because when I'd see like certain people moving up the ladder, and I'd see the crowd reaction to it, and I'd just be like, dude, this is so not like my thing's not okay. So when I was on Kill Tony, for instance, right?
It
and
takes years to figure out your thing, though.
But I kind
You
of
can't base it off of a few open mics.
and you're just gonna see a lot of people going up there. You're like, I don't get it. And once you see enough people, you're like, I don't get why this person's getting ahead. Then you start to just be like, oh, well, some people are just gonna get ahead, and I won't get it. And you just kind of like accept that that's how it goes.
No, and I fully accepted it. You know, I mean, you can try to piss in the wind. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
you can look
yeah.
at yourself and try to say, okay, what? But I'm not going to change my whole life perspectives. And like, I'm never going to be a dancing monkey. You know what I mean? I'm never going to say some shit
See,
that.
that's what I can do. I can dance like a monkey real good. That's why I get ahead, right, Jesse?
Sometimes you gotta hide the pills in the applesauce, dude. You gotta
Yeah.
do a little jig right up there before
I
you.
feel like I do kind of do that because I make a lot of silly jokes and I'll just slip in an anti-Semitic one right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then the audience is like, wait a minute, what did he say? I'm like, I'm back to talk about getting hit by my dad, everybody.
I do the opposite. I start out negative and then I do a cute one about my mom. and
Dude,
then
the
I go-
fat jokes you do are like pushing it. Like that's like things not allowed in the Matrix where Agent Smith show up and tell you
Yeah.
can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Fucking fat people are getting on that list. Real. When did fat people become like
This protected class, I don't know, but I hate it.
they're like a voting block now? It's really bizarre.
Who's got the fat vote?
I heard Nick Mullen say Nick Mullen said they're like treated like a voting block, and it was like the most apt observation where I'm like, you're right, they do treat themselves like that. And Patrice has the best bit ever where he says he's walking down the street and other fat people will be like, yo, what's up? Like they know each other. He's like, what? We don't, just because we're both fat, I don't know you. He's like, what am I, Malcolm XXXL? Such a good bit. And yeah, fat
It's like
people-
me and the other guys with mullets don't say a fucking word to each other. We
Yeah.
just keep it moving,
It's
dude.
just so funny that like
Because they're like, I thought I was the mullet guy at the party. It's
even
like,
my
no.
mom said you did a fat joke a long time ago at Summit Lounge, and there was two really fat people, this couple sitting right front and center at those tall tables.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "So he's doing fat jokes, so uncomfortable, like right next to that really fat lady or whatever." So even my mom is like, "Oh, like pitying them," which is like, no, you laughed at the Jew joke, so laugh at the fat. Like everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fat as shit though. I really gotta get it together.
Dude, you're really not even. I mean, I would tell you if you were.
I'm
You
pretty
working
bad.
out, Rodney?
What's that?
You working out?
Yeah, dude, I lost like 15 pounds with COVID, man. That shit really fucked me up.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to like just eat.
Are you trying to bulk back up?
Yeah, I'm trying to bulk back up.
Okay.
And you're a tall dude, so I know how hard it is to even get like any amount of muscle the taller you are. So the fact that you're not like a string bean tells me you probably have gone through periods of your life where you've worked out a lot. It seems like you have strong shoulders.
I'm thinking about. Thanks, dude. That's nice. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. I'm thinking about doing TRT, dude.
Let's do it.
How
I'll
old
do
are
it.
you?
How old am I? 32.
Okay.
With this
I'm
hair,
34.
if
I've been joking about doing the random test boosters they have at GNC down the street.
Well, there's a whole like clinic. Is that my phone?
oh no, that's the
No,
hour.
my roommate's alarm is going to go off about an hour now. Luckily, the podcast is almost
Oh no,
over.
it's my alarm.
Uh,
I have to buy oat milk for my girlfriend.
That's pretty fun.
The snooze
But yeah,
alarm.
there's a clinic that's specifically for like a men's testosterone testing clinic thing here in Austin.
Yeah.
And it's not like anabolic steroids, you know.
Right.
Like Rogan's all about it, you know. Tony's on it.
Yeah, Dr. Drew said he would do it, but he had prostate cancer, so he can't.
I didn't know that's a thing. I thought as long as you bypass, so if you like swallow this shit, it'll fuck with your kidneys and everything. But if you just inject it, you basically bypass all the organ damage.
If you do TRT and combine it with semen retention, is
Dude,
that
You just
bad?
get yoked.
Is
Be a
that-
beast.
That's good. I think if I took TRT, the hair would grow like Brody Stevens style, like over my eyes.
You might lose your hair.
I'm being swallowed by my hair right now.
If you doesn't raising your testosterone cause like baldness also?
No, that's the anabolic steroids.
Okay.
I guess they don't have really a lot of long-term research on the TRT, but
Fuck it, dude.
yeah, dude.
Rogan's the chimp for that right now.
Well, and just a lot of people that, I don't trust doctors anymore, just like traditional, because I had this autoimmune disorder where they told me it was just this incurable thing. I was going to have to live with this the rest of my life, all this shit, right? And I had to like give myself these like shots in the stomach. Like I was very fucking sick.
Did you get on the carnivore diet and fix it?
No, I
Coffee enemas, maybe? Yeah.
Close, dude,
Okay.
close. So I've always kind of had digestive problems, and then I started just like really digging deep into hippie shit, and I started really like cleansing my gut, and so
Hell yeah, dude.
so what I
Gut
think
health.
so what I think what was happening, I was getting like these really swollen feet and like basically a form of arthritis, right?
Whoa.
Was it like gout?
No, it's like straight up like arthritis, like inflammatory arthritis.
Why can't
Yeah.
you get arthritis of your dick and get really swollen dick?
Yeah.
It's always your
Yeah.
feet or some shit.
Shoot TRT into your dick.
Yeah.
But so the doctors, they were telling me, this is incurable. It's just something you're gonna have to live with. Blah blah blah. You gotta take all these like very like dangerous drugs, and I was just like, that can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, I kind of tracked it down to this thing called leaky gut syndrome, where
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
yeah, and I started just taking like L-glutamine and like bone broth and shit like that, and just
Yeah.
like really like cleansing
Some
up.
probios.
Damn,
Yeah,
son.
probios. I just really like cleansed my gut, and like 6 months later now, like I'm totally fine.
What type of probios are you fucking with?
It's this shit called seed. It's like a pre and probiotic.
I just want like a yogurt.
It's expensive as shit though.
Just like a yogurt. Or
I used to
something like
buy
that. You need to put it
like
in sugar.
Costco probiotics like in capsules, and I was like, "There's no way this is doing anything to my
yeah,
body."
your stomach acid just destroys it. So like these capsules that I'm talking about, like they withstand the pH level until it gets in your asshole, and then it like just
Nice. Why don't you just shove it? So if you get the Costco ones, can you shove them directly into your asshole?
Yeah.
Skip the whole process.
I don't know. Have you guys ever tried to do an enema?
Dude,
No.
I watched a Joe Rogan episode about coffee enemas that came out like 3 years ago, and this guy just shoves coffee up his ass.
Yeah, Robin Quivers from Howard Stern show. You know, Paul, you're a listener.
And
She
he-
used to do this.
That's all friendship's built off.
She's famous for doing coffee enemas.
Dude, so people who
Why
do coffee
coffee?
enemas, they claim that it's like
Just like
the
doing
limitless
cocaine.
pill. Coffee
Yeah.
enema is the limitless pill. It's the true limitless pill.
We should do that on the Patreon. We'll get a beer bong. We'll just do a
50?
jackass butt bong.
Actually,
with
I'll tell you this
coffee.
right now. 100 subscribers, I'll put coffee in my ass.
All right, we're
100 subscribers. That's $500 a month.
So what are the tiers now? You said
He only wants to do a $5 tier because his thinking is if we give him a $1 or $2 option, like everyone would just choose that one. It's pretty smart actually, because it's
Yeah.
like
I guess tier was the wrong word. Because you said I forget what it was.
we're supposed to eat mushrooms and watch The Departed, but if I eat mushrooms right now, there's almost 100% chance that I'm gonna end up in a psych ward.
Just
like-
too much
So
going on.
I was thinking every 10 subscribers, we do 10 milligrams of weed.
I'm just in that point in my life where I
So
know
when we
I'm-
get 20, we do a 20 milligram edible.
yeah, I'll eat as much weed, but
Yeah.
shrooms, I'm pushing a lot of stuff to the down right now. Like I have a lot of stuff pushed inside a closet that is
Yeah.
not shutting.
yeah.
And if I take shrooms, that whole thing's gonna burst open for sure.
Yeah, I can't do. I don't even smoke weed anymore, just for that reason. Like, there's too much shit going on up here.
Now I would like to get to a place in my life where I could go back to enjoying that. But when you're like, oh, I'm ignoring. You know the meme where the dog's sitting in the house on fire?
Yeah.
It's a great lefty tankies like to post that meme.
Yeah.
That's how my brain feels right now.
I feel. What are you guys doing to like promote the podcast and stuff?
Just Instagram reels.
Ben's
YouTube
having
shorts.
sex with a lot of European bitches right now.
Yeah,
Dude, good for him.
he's spreading his seed across Europe.
Yeah. I'm saying a lot of inflammatory things about the LGBT community.
Yeah,
That always works.
we're having people with more than 10,000 followers on the podcast. That
hell
helps.
yeah, dude. Authors.
Yeah, I mean, you got you guys 6 new followers
How
so
long
far.
are we almost? Is this an hour? What are we at?
We got 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm pretty good. I timed that out perfect.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm a headliner now. Dude, you should do like a Mark Twain-esque reading, and it'll be like Mark Twain. Cause you'll
Would
say,
you like to close out the podcast with a passage?
Yeah, would you like to do a passage? I'll do. You want me to do my interpretation of one of your
Not
passages?
really, dude. I might turn beet red and like.
It's like someone reading your Twitter back to you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. It's like I don't usually.
What's the back of the book say, Paul?
I
Give
like it. I'm scrolling through it and I like
Read
it.
the back of the book.
Nah, dude, save it for later, dude.
Yeah, dude. Buy the book online. I'm thinking you might have changed my life. I've been dreaming of doing a graphic novel, because I have 2 or 3 people in mind that would draw the characters for me. I could write it. And with this self-publishing and holding this book in my hand, I was like, if I could make a graphic novel, like 10 issues put together in one compilation that felt like this.
How many copies did you print?
They print on demand. So, I mean, I
Okay.
ordered like a big bundle of like author's copies, just for like shit like this, so I can hand them out to friends and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
But every time you sell one, it gets printed, so there's no overhead.
Nice.
And there's a thing, so that's why I was kind of asking how you guys are promoting the podcast, because there's this thing, it's called like can we go over an hour, or is it going to cut off?
Yeah, no problem.
There's this thing called the wheel and spoke method, right? That's why I was so like sprung on your newsletter. Because you just build this like ecosystem of shit that supports the other thing that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why I was kind of telling you, like, dude, if you got some animation of your childhood stories, because they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you might not think that they're as outrageous as they are, but they are that outrageous. Like, you haven't had just like a normal like life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should try doing the fight story on stage. You should think about it.
I've thought about it, because we're fighting over deleting my MySpace, so it's like.
And why don't you
It's
punch it up?
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's hysterical.
And when I did my 2 stories, so I did a storytelling show a week or 2 ago, and I wrote this long, it was like 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's just 2 stories about times I had sex during the pandemic that were like really silly. And I've been doing them. I've done them on stage like 5 times now, and every time I'm like, holy shit, this is like one of my better things. That's like, I had to cut it down a little bit, but I'm gonna do my acting shit, and it's making me think like, oh damn, you don't even need the story itself to be like super funny. It just needs to be funny enough, and then you go into it and you punch it up. Because I make a bunch of like unrelated jokes in the story I'm telling, because you hit on something and you do a sidebar. So, and that's so much more engaging to an audience than like, hey, you see these transgender swimmers, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's just gonna be fucking tight. You know, like when you're telling something personal, and then you hide your personality behind like a narrative, like you get them to learn about you through like a real experience or whatever.
I just feel like the only way, as a like kind of from the having like a toe in the stand-up world, you know what I mean, just kind of like veering in and like understanding the world. I feel like the only way to blow up as a stand-up comedian is by having all this other shit going on, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you gotta have the podcast, you gotta have the clips, you gotta have tweets and fucking.
It's like back to the rapper thing, you know? Like, a rapper can have the best song in the world, but you're not going to listen to it unless it has a video, unless they're wearing a
People
fucking
making
ridiculous
beats,
chain.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
unless you have these
That's
things.
how Andrew Schultz, he talks about all the time. You saw rappers putting out singles and videos and EPs. You would put out like 3 or 4 songs. So he would drop a video every week. And then eventually that led to like a full special. And then he pieced the special out into like 4 like 10-minute parts. So you like monetize those like separately.
Yeah, dude, it's just a new world, man. It's like, that's, you know, luckily like the TikToks and the Reels and all that. But
Are you banned from TikTok yet?
I'm very, very shadow banned. I did an interview with a transgender person, and
Oh yeah, was that Hagatha?
yeah, dude, shout out to Hagatha. And it did 200,000 views in like 24 hours. And then so usually when I'd post, so I have 4,000 TikTok followers, right?
That's not bad at all. That's pretty good.
Well, it was growing because I would post, you know, clips of my podcast or just like dumb little me talking shit in the car or whatnot. And so it was steady growing, and they'd get maybe like 1,000 views or something. And then I did this Hagatha interview, and I put this clip up, and it did 200K. And this was like maybe 2 months ago. And ever since then, I'll upload something and it'll get like 7 views. So they threw me way in the gulag.
What were you guys talking about?
I asked her, I asked her if her, God, I don't even know how you explain this. So basically, she's a biological man.
Okay.
And then her wife is also a biological man, but they're lesbians together.
Why are you gay? Who is gay? You are gay.
Are they both trans?
One of them, so not Hagatha, but Hagatha's wife had bottom surgery already.
Yeah. And is
Like,
now a woman?
Got his dick chopped off and is now a woman.
Okay.
But now he identifies as a man again, even though he doesn't have a penis. But Hagatha is upset because she married a woman and she doesn't want to lose her lesbian identity. So I uploaded this video and it went crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like I said,
Are you guys friends, you and Hagatha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still like very confusing.
Yeah.
These are like, that's like the craziest like first world problems.
Rodney, how do you feel
I'm not a
on
lesbian
the issue
because
of the issue of having sex with a transgender woman?
I'm very supportive. Like I grew up like my godfather was gay.
Okay.
I think gay guys are fucking hilarious just because they don't give a shit.
So
you
even
know?
if a trans woman's a dime
But-
piece, like fucking, you're still the dick is a
No,
dime
like as
everywhere?
far as like, I mean, I don't even like having sex with loose women. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I'm very like, I don't like being touched. And so like, if
Guys are just like really loose women if you think about it.
very loose women, but yeah, I could never, one thing I was very sure of at a very young age is that, sound like Trump, I'm the straightest man alive, that I don't want to fuck guys, but I have no problem with people that want to fuck guys. So if it's a trans woman and I know that it's been a guy, like there's just some like wiring in my brain that won't
Right.
allow me.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
That used to be a pretty like the common stance, but I think now you might get shadow banned.
End
Yeah,
up in
Rodney's
jail.
like, baby, I was born this way. There's nothing I can do about
I'll
it.
take some of
People
the
are
heat,
like,
I'll take some of the
fucking
heat off you.
homophobic.
Rodney, you never think that electric vehicles remind you a lot of transgender women? You know, because 10 years ago, you're like, damn, that thing is ugly. But now you're like, I think I'm going to trade mine in for one of those. It's pretty nice.
There's the joke. Rodney, thanks for hanging out with us, dude.
All right. If you listen that far in the podcast, there you go.
Get the Petty Principles
Yeah.
Volume 1.
Eddie Principles Volume 1. When can we expect Volume 2 from you, Rodney?
I've been rolling around ideas in my head, so
Excellent.
it's coming. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Thank you for doing
Hell
it, dude.
yeah,
That was
dude.
really fun.